at this point, if you I'm not on Mendez's Discord, but yeah, I'd be happy to. And it does. And hello, Zach. Welcome to the stream. So we've added a new character. We've got a location. So Snoozy Ladoozy is on the space shuttle. So we open our opening scene is Snoozy Ladoozy is on the space shuttle. And Snoozy Ladoozy is feeling tired. Let's say Snoozy Ladoozy is feeling tired. He's just, piloted the space shuttle around the moon, and he's going back for the, voice final message. It's the return trip. He's kind of flown up to the moon, gone and checked out the flag and everything, and checked out that everything's still in order, that, no one's come and pinched all the stuff from the lunar lander. And Snoozy Ladoozy is he's had a long day of space traveling and is ready to go home. He's on the space shuttle, and then Richard Nixon radios in and says, "Snoozy Ladoozy, are you asleep at the wheel?" And that's when Snoozy Ladoozy wakes up, and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm asleep in charge of the space shuttle. Oh my god, what am I doing? I'm asleep in charge of the space shuttle." And he looks around and is like, "Oh no, Richard Nixon, I'm awake, and I'm piloting the space shuttle." And actually is very tired. He says, "I'm awake, Richard Nixon. I'm piloting the space shuttle, just like you asked." And Richard Nixon says, "But you're on a collision course with planet Earth." Da da da. So we've got our opening drama. Snoozy Ladoozy, a very sleepy man, is on a collision course with planet Earth in his space shuttle. So, what's going to take us next? Let's hope there's some more stage directions come in. If you type in action followed by a word or phrase, that can cause a character to do something. So, Snoozy Ladoozy. Now, Richard Nixon is like, "Snoozy Ladoozy, you'd better pilot this spaceship away from planet Earth immediately. Over and out." So Snoozy Ladoozy does a sweet loop, and it's like, and he loops over and around the planet Earth, narrowly missing the planet Earth. And is so, overjoyed at this that he radios in to Richard Nixon and says, "Richard Nixon, this is Snoozy Ladoozy, and I saved your planet Earth, and now I challenge you to a rap battle. And we will have this rap battle tomorrow at noon, but first, I must sleep." And he goes back to sleep. Of course, what was the space shuttle carrying? None other than Thomas the Tank Engine. We see the camera pan round, and the camera pans round and points at Thomas the Tank Engine, who's on the back of this spaceship. No, Thomas the Tank Engine has hijacked. He's got onto the back of the space shuttle. So while we flash back to when the space shuttle was on the moon. And we smash, and it's like, and we see Thomas the Tank Engine sneak onto the space shuttle, like he's clinging onto the back. And so the space shuttle is kind of like low flying around Earth now, and Thomas the Tank Engine is so he sees Florida down below, and it's like, "I'm going to go to Florida now," said Thomas. And so Thomas the Tank Engine jumps off of the space shuttle, and sort of flies down. A parachute opens out, and he kind of flies down into Florida. So, Sheriff Pumpernickel, Richard Nixon, Granny Starshine, and Thomas the Tank Engine are in the Walmart. Now, if you want to describe how a character is at this point in time, there we go. You can use the word "is." So Richard Nixon is very seasick because they're on inside a floating water Walmart, and And Thomas the Tank Engine, he's just splashed down into the water, right outside he's right outside the Walmart, the floating Walmart. And Sheriff Pumpernickel is like, "Yeehaw, what's that in the water? Is that Thomas the Tank Engine?" And Granny Starshine is like, "Oh my, oh it is. And I love Thomas the Tank Engine, so I feel great." But Richard Nixon's, he's just leaning over the edge, vomiting over the edge, like, "Oh my god, I've never felt so seasick in my life." And Sheriff Pumpernickel is like, "Well, you know, you would do after Watergate, but obviously he'll say that in a way that is actually, you know, genuinely quite astute. We'll figure that out later." So Granny Starshine, you know, loves watching Nixon vomit, so she's having a whale of a time. And Sheriff Pumpernickel, he's disgusted, and he's like, I'm, you know, y'all go vomit in your own time. I'm going to pilot this floating Walmart away from Thomas the Tank Engine, who's coming to get us. So Richard Nixon is so seasick that he falls overboard, but it's like the floating Walmart has like kind of layers. It's got, you know, in a shopping center where you've got like, you know, you've got balconies and things. So they're on a balcony at the moment. He's been vomiting off. He vomits so hard, he falls off and breaks both his legs. And Thomas the Tank Engine's there, and Thomas the Tank Engine floating in the water, just bobbing up and down. And he's seen his food for the night. He's like, oh, that's my catch of the day, said Thomas. So Thomas the Tank Engine, Thomas the Tank Engine swims up to the floating Walmart, like, really fast, like a shark. But then he sees Richard Nixon growing new legs, and they're like long legs. They're like super legs with talons and bird claws and stuff. So you got this kind of bird claw Richard Nixon rising up, and he's like, "I must return to full power." And then Thomas the Tank Engine is like, "Oh no, I'm not having any of that. I am not having any of that." So he's like, he plunges back down into the depths, never to be seen again. Richard Nixon, as well as the new legs, he grows bird wings as well, and flies off into the sunset, leaving, so we just got Granny Starshine. Granny Starshine is the only one left, looking, and she's like, I should write this down in my diaries. I'm going to write about this in my diaries, and we're going to, because this could be. So then Granny Starshine, she's writing in her diaries, and she's like, "Oh, I should do some illustrations. Oh, I should do some illustrations to go in here, and so everyone can find out about the time I was on the floating Walmart and saw Thomas the Tank Engine and Richard Nixon, and I will do an illustration of Richard Nixon." But she sees Richard Nixon is flying up in the air. And she's like, because she needs to draw him, and she can't draw him if he doesn't stay still. So she starts hurling rocks at him to try and immobilize him so she can get him still, and doing so breaks Nixon's leg. Richard Nixon plummets into the ocean, into the murky depths, where Thomas the Tank Engine is still swimming around, hungry for Nixon meat. So that's the end of scene 2. You know, we'll catch up with them later. Meanwhile, in Station Square, we are in Station Square, and the year is 2004. This is a flashback. And we go back, and Granny Starshine there, and she is feeling great. She waves her magic wand. And says, "Izzy Wizzy, let's get busy." And what's she doing? She's got little models of buildings. She's like a model railway, and she's making all the buildings float. You know, just like the floating Walmart. This is a sort of, we're foreshadowing the floating Walmart now. So, Granny Starshine waves her magic wand and makes a model of a floating Walmart float. It was like sunken beneath the depths in a fish tank, and it's floating up to the surface, and the fish are all swimming around looking confused. And then She grows a new leg. What causes it's the wand backfires. She's firing the thing, and she fires the wand and thing, and she's like, it floats to the top, and it's like, oh, that's magnificent. What a wonderful wand it is. She puts it in her pocket. She forgot to put it back in its sheath, so it like casts a duplication spell on her leg, and she starts growing a new leg, and she's like, oh my, and this is so shocking to her that she starts having a heart attack. So she's like, and she tries to get to the ball. She makes a 999 call, but 999 has been disconnected because of the Nixon administration. And she's like, damn that Nixon administration for disconnecting the 999 number, or the 911 number. I don't know. I think Station Square's in America, so it's 911. Damn you, Richard Nixon, for disconnecting the emergency services. Okay, so then she's like panting. She grabs a defibrillator. She breaks the glass as like in case of emergency, break glass. She uses a defibrillator on herself, and she goes, clear, ka-chunk, clear, ka-chunk, clear, ka-chunk. And so she comes back to life. She's like, oh my god, that was quite an ordeal. I should better remember to put my wand in a sheath next time. And her ex-girlfriend, your ex-girlfriend, a talking horse, comes in. So your ex-girlfriend is a talking horse and says, Granny Starshine, there is danger in the future, in the year 2022, on a floating Walmart that you created. You must come with me to the time machine. Quickly, ride on my back. And so, meanwhile, in the mirror universe, a sketchy salesman, Granny Starshine, a brave little toaster, the handsome prospector, and Snoozy the Doozy are present. Granny Starshine is feeling great, handsome prospector is flirty. And he's got his pickaxe and his gold. He says, Granny Starshine, I know you feel great right now, but I can make you feel more great. Oh, yeah. And Granny Starshine is, oh, handsome prospector, you are lovely, but you can't buy my affections. And he's like, aw, shucks. And she leaves. She just leaves. Now, brave little toaster laughs, and he's like, ha ha ha, oh, handsome prospector, you're so flirty, but you really don't have a way with me. If you want to find a way to Granny Starshine's heart, you need to teach her. Yeah, you need to reach out to her on a personal level. Now, Snoozing Medoozy is asleep in the corner at this point. We don't know how he's going to become relevant to the scene. Now, brave little toaster says, handsome prospector, let me show you the secret of making someone fall in love with you. Come with me. And they go off into the brave little toaster's vault inside whichever location they're in right now. I can't remember where they are. No, they're in the mirror universe. So they're in the mirror version of Station Square. All the colors are inverted. And brave little toaster breaks out a glass case containing Richard Nixon's leg. And he snaps and he says, take half of this leg and I'll need you to grind it into a fine powder and snort it, and handsome prospector as well. How much leg do I need? And he says, half. So he snaps the leg in half. And handsome prospector says, haha, now I've got your leg. Now you are powerless without half of Nixon's leg, and throws a pie at brave little toaster and runs off. Brave little toaster catches the pie and tries to throw it back at handsome prospector, but he misses, and the handsome prospector escapes down the garbage chute. Handsome prospector arrives in the room with Granny Starshine, and Granny Starshine was right, and she sees half of Richard Nixon's leg there, and she's like, oh, did you bring that for me? And handsome prospector, he's very embarrassed like this. He doesn't want her to think that this is his, failed flirting, so he's like, he doesn't make eye contact with her. Meanwhile, the brave little toaster, having lost half of Nixon's leg, his rare artifact, freaks out. He's like, oh my god, my half leg, I need it to be in it. Handsome Prospector is like, with this leg, with this leg, I can become all powerful. I don't need love no more. Granny Starshine, I don't need love no more. I'm gonna go and become a magical man with half of Richard Nixon's magical leg. Now, Sketchy Salesman, who's been there this whole time, he says, would you, okay, I have a great offer in pies on your face right now. Pies in your face. I'm giving you a great deal on pies on your face. And Handsome Prospector turns around and Sketchy Salesman just lobs it at him. And he's like, you know, but Handsome Prospector didn't see who did it. And so Sketchy Salesman is just like... Now, Sheriff Pumpernickel comes in. And he says... Because this is the alternative universe, by the way. Sheriff Pumpernickel, this is the year 2004 in an alternate universe version of Station Square where all the colours are inverted. And Sheriff Pumpernickel comes in and says, "Yeehaw! I heard you had Richard Nixon's leg. I am willing to offer you great prices on NFTs in Richard Nixon's leg." And the brave little toaster is like, "No, I own Richard Nixon's leg. You can't make an NFT of Richard Nixon's leg. It's my leg." Now, Snoozy Ladoozy's been in the corner this whole time. Little do they know that in this universe, he is the keeper of the magic wand. And waking up, Snoozy Madoozy rubs his eyes, stretches, and in doing so does not realize he has been waving this magic wand and casting spells. The first spell causes Sheriff Pumpernickel to dab, you know, and he's like, you know, but he's still keeping up the NFT thing. So he's like, yeah, dab with me, everyone. Let's get NFTs of Richard Nixon's legs. And brave little toaster is like, no, you can't, like, stop it. So Snoozy Doozy's filming the whole thing, and this goes viral in TikTok, which existed in the alternative universe. So we are in a water park now. We cut to a water park. This is the next day. Winnie the Pooh, Granny Starshine, Bio Lizard, a talking mongoose, and Handsome Prospector are present. And Granny Starshine's feeling great. Handsome Prospector is no longer interested in Granny Starshine, but they've come together to the water park. And Handsome Prospector roars, "I have half of Richard Nixon's leg! Join me, Bio Lizard and Talking Mongoose! Join me, and we shall become all-powerful with this magical half of Richard Nixon's leg." And Granny Starshine says, "Yes, that awful Nixon administration who disbanded the emergency services. Well, now we have their leg, and if they think they're evil, we can defeat them using their own powers." So Handsome Prospector says, "Witness the power of this leg," and teleports a comet all the way from outer space. Winnie the Pooh nods knowingly and gives a reassuring wink. Winnie the Pooh is on board in this. This is the League of Evil now. This is the League of Evil. The Talking Mongoose, Winnie the Pooh, and the Bio Lizard have all got together, and they're like, the water park has the arc cannon in it, the most powerful cannon, and it just needed the magical power of Richard Nixon's leg to fire it. So Talking Mongoose fires the arc cannon at the moon, and it, like, the moon smashes into bits. And that's how we're starting wondering, wait, this is 2004. The story began in 2002 when we were in 2022 when we're on the moon. Granny Starshine says, "Oh, I really don't want to be a part of this. This all seems rather evil." And Bio Lizard becomes flirting. Bio Lizard, very flirtatious, says, "Ladies, gentlemen, witness our power, witness our arc cannon. Now, Now, who wants to make kissy faces with me, BioLizard? Because it's grown in a tube, so it doesn't know much about sexual reproduction. And a Henson prospector says, "We have no time. We have no time for your kissy faces, BioLizard. We have no time for your kissy faces, BioLizard. We have to take this ark to Japan and then threaten their moon as well. Because in the mirror universe, there's multiple moons, and each everywhere owns a different moon. The clock's not running. I have just noticed that, but I know roughly how long we've been going. I can see the duration of the stream, so I know how long I've been on. Anyway, the brave little toaster comes in and is like, "Stop you horrible people! That was the moon. That was our American moon. Gosh darn it! And I'm gonna stop you all. I'm gonna stop you all," and starts firing taste at all of them. Talking Mongoose gets hit in the face with a big slice of toast. But doesn't mind, because the Talking Mongoose is in love with the BioLizard. The Talking Mongoose begins evolving. The love causes the mongoose to evolve. Oh my god, what is the Talking Mongoose going to evolve into? Handsome Prospector is so amazed at this situation that he starts dabbing. Winnie the Pooh says, Winnie the Pooh, while this is all going on, goes, "Well, this is the perfect distraction for me to enact my part of the evil plan." Oh, Pooty Poo. Then the Talking Mongoose betrays their family. The Talking Mongoose betrays their family and says, Now it's time, now that I have evolved into my Mega Mongoose form, let's point the cannon at my family as revenge for all the horror they put me through." And the Talking Mongoose runs off, or scampers off, to the controls for the arc cannon. So yeah, we got a lot going on. We've got the arc cannon the arc cannon is being operated by all of this kind of League of Evil characters. They're using half of Richard Nixon's leg to give it the magical power that it needs to fire it. How this is going to tie in to Snoozy Medoozy, piloting the space shuttle with Thomas the Tank Engine, who's going to eat Richard Nixon, we don't know, but let's find out. Brave Little Toaster laughs at an inside out the others don't know about. We don't know about it either. That's the mysterious. We leave on this mysterious thing. It's like we just see Brave Little Toaster looking on at this scene, looking on at this calamity, all these evil figures operating the arc cannon, and he laughs, he chuckles, and a single tear rolls down his eye. What does he know that we don't? So, on the outside of a submarine, deep underwater, trying to get into the submarine, are a Nintendo Wii, Granny Starshine, the Talking Mongoose, and Thomas the Tank Engine. We are back in the year 2022, and there's a submarine that is and it's going to fire the torpedoes at the floating Walmart. So, Granny Starshine is the only force that can stop these villains. Yes, she is, and Thomas the Tank Engine is shy, because Thomas the Tank Engine hasn't had his Nixon food yet, and Thomas the Tank Engine, he swims off, because that's what's in the submarine. The submarine in the year 2022 has the arc cannon in it. It's like a new nuclear war. The year 2022, there's a new nuclear war, and everyone has arc cannons now. Everyone has arc cannons now, and Thomas the Tank Engine is on the outside operating the control mechanisms. It's like, I'm operating the control mechanisms to fire the arc cannon, said Thomas. And Granny Starshine is like, "No, stop, Thomas, you don't know what you're doing. If you fire the arc cannon, then it'll cause all the other nuclear powers to fire their arc cannons." But it was too late. The arc cannon fires, and the floating Walmart is exploded. it's exploded, and the Nintendo Wii's there riding a horse underwater, just splishing, splashing, and reading discs, and having, and no stream category. Yeah, oh god, do I usually put a stream category on? Oh well, I don't think it matters. Does it matter? Who are you? Where are we? Okay, so the talking mongoose waves a wand, and waves the magic wand and tries to stop Thomas the Tank Engine from firing the arc cannon again and again, but it doesn't stop. The talking mongoose starts peace talks while speedrunning video games. It's the only way to get through to Thomas the Tank Engine. The mongoose, they go, it's the only way I can stop Thomas the Tank Engine is by distracting him with these video games. And so starts playing Sonic really, really fast as a way to distract Thomas the Tank Engine from the control panel. Meanwhile, he wins the lottery, gets the talking mongoose, it wins the lottery, it's in the special stage in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and it gets 999 rings. Thomas the Tank Engine makes a small error that throws off the whole plan. Thomas the Tank Engine puts in the wrong coordinates for the arc cannon, and gets the arc cannon. It's now aiming directly at them! Nintendo Wii is so shocked by this, and it starts boiling an egg in frustration. Talking mongoose starts boiling an egg. They all start boiling eggs to try and use food to calm themselves from this impending danger. The only person who can stop them, the only person who can stop them is Granny Starshine. But she's gone. She's swimming deep underwater. What's she planning? How is she going to stop this nuclear war that's going on with all these arc cannons firing all over the place? Talking mongoose unplugs the fridge. But all this does, the fridge on the outside of the submarine, all this does is give the arc cannon more power. And it's charging up. It's glowing. It's pointing directly at them. Directly at the submarine. It's going to blow them all up. Thomas the Tank Engine realizes how much danger they're all in. And goes, no, I can't let that happen, and plugs the fridge back in. What happens as a result of that? They're saved for 1 minute. It causes a power surge. Plugging the fridge back in, causing a power surge. The arc cannon switches off again. But they know they got away from a lucky escape. So, inside the moon reconstruction site, Granny Starshine is present. She's the only force that can stop these villains. So, Granny Starshine is inside the moon reconstruction site. So, this is, she swam, that's what she's done. She swam down the underwater tunnels in Florida to get to the moon reconstruction site, which is at Cape Canaveral, where they fake the moon landings. And she's there, and she's looking for something. There is something in here that's going to help her shut down the arc cannons. Snoozy the Doozy comes in, and he's like, Granny Starshine, well, that's a face I haven't seen in a long time. Ugh. And Granny Starshine says, Snoozy the Doozy, well, I haven't seen you since I rescued you from that alternate universe. And Snoozy the Doozy falls in love with the Bio-Lizard. And Snoozy the Doozy says, because it's like, where have you been? And she says, I've been underwater with the Bio-Lizard and Thomas the Tank Engine trying to stop the arc cannon. And Snoozy the Doozy, remembering the name Bio-Lizard, pictures the Bio-Lizard and just remembers how in love he was with that beautiful, beautiful lizard with its kissy, kissy face. And Snoozy the Doozy says, Oh, Bio-Lizard, is the Bio-Lizard still alive, Granny Starshine? And she dabs. She dabs. She's upset. She covers her eyes, but tries to make it look like she's not getting emotional by turning it into a dab, but it doesn't really work. And she's like, Oh, Snoozy the Doozy, the Bio-Lizard is dead. The Bio-Lizard was shot with the arc cannon. And it's terrible. It's terrible. They're so sad. They are so sad. So, Granny Starshine says, "It looks like what I'm looking for is not here at the place where they faked the moon landings at Cape Canaveral. So I must go, Snoozy the Doozy." And Snoozy the Doozy falls asleep and goes into a dream. Dreaming. We have a dream sequence of Snoozy the Doozy dreams about the bio-lizard floating around the moon. He dreams about floating around the moon with the bio-lizard and just remembering that that's why he'd gone to the moon in the first place. To scatter its ashes. Because it was the alternate universe bio-lizard that Snoozy the Doozy fell in love with. Meanwhile, during this dream sequence, he gets woken up by at the end of the song, he says, I don't know, said something, and Thomas the Tank Engine's there saying, something that sounds very similar, but he wakes up, he comes through, and he's like, "I'm gonna eat you, I'm gonna eat you, I'm gonna eat you," said Thomas. And it's like, Snoozy the Doozy realizes that Thomas the Tank Engine has followed him. Thomas the Tank Engine is looking for Granny Starshine, but he's hungry. He's like, Thomas the Tank Engine seems to flip between this kind of hunger for human flesh and this kind of like he's looking for he wants to operate the arc cannons, and he's like, Snoozy the Doozy knows the only way to shut down Thomas the Tank Engine is to read him a beautiful haiku. So he starts frantically studying Japanese, but is it going to be too late? Is he going to be eaten by Thomas the Tank Engine? Meanwhile, on the inside of the moon, and this is, we're flashing back once again. We are flashing back. There's a lot of flashbacks. It's a very confusing film. It's kind of, we'll get the Tenet guy to direct it. So we're flashing back to the inside of the moon, where the two-headed fox, Granny Starshine, Winnie the Pooh, and Snoozy the Doozy are all there, scattering the ashes of the bio-lizard. Granny Starshine is the only force that can stop these villains, but she doesn't know that Winnie the Pooh is one of the bad guys from the other universe. Winnie the Pooh, two-headed fox, stirs the pot of ashes, stirs them, get all the moon air into that pot of ashes before they spread it. Winnie the Pooh is like, I know what I need to know. Winnie the Pooh is like one of these characters you just see in the background, and as you watch the film again, you'll go, oh wow, Winnie the Pooh was in all the important scenes. So, the two-headed fox establishes a local bank. He says, what's a fox kind of voice? I'm a fox. Yes, I'm a fox. Yes, Granny Starshine. I'm going to start a local bank here on the moon, and then when people move to the moon, I will have the monopoly on money, and then I will be the richest fox in all the kingdom. Granny Starshine realizes that at some point she's going to need the moon money, and says, Snoozy the Doozy, we're going to need this money in the future to save the world from all the arc cannons. Can you help me? Let's plan. Are you? And Snoozy the Doozy is like, oh, you son of a bitch, I'm in. And Snoozy the Doozy, and they start planning a bank robbery, because inside the vault is Richard Nixon's half a leg. Inside the bank vault is Richard Nixon's half a leg, and the two-headed fox is getting very, very nervous, because the two-headed fox is like, he can tell they're planning something, but he doesn't know what. All he knows is he needs to up his security. He knows these two are suspicious, that they, in fact, might be villains themselves. The two-headed fox is getting nervous, and a leg collector enters. A leg collector enters the room and says, I found this leg. I found this half a Richard Nixon leg. and I would like to store it in your bank vault. And the two-headed fox says, "Oh, yeah, I've forgotten what my voice is. But I shall take this as heir to the moon throne. This will go perfect in my collection of royal memorabilia, which I'm storing." And he stores it in the royal vault. The royal vault in the bank is the most secure vault because it's guarded by queens, and queens are the most powerful chess piece. So, yeah. Granny Starshine, who, she puts on her elegant moon gown and says, and they start a big dance sequence. It's a beautiful dance sequence between her and Snoozy the Doozy, because she thinks Snoozy the Doozy's her boyfriend, and she thinks, like, she doesn't know that Snoozy the Doozy is in love with the Bile-Lizard, and maybe he's going to betray her in the story. So we know this. This is kind of like dramatic tension, dramatic irony. She doesn't know what we know, and we know that Snoozy the Doozy is in love with the Bile-Lizard. And Granny Starshine does a beautiful dance, beautiful moon dance with, it's like a kind of waltz, a moon waltz, in a kind of another musical sequence, and they're singing about the thing, but whatchamacallit, Snoozy the Doozy mentions the Bile-Lizard, and it just breaks the thing, because she can tell he's in love with the Bile-Lizard and not her, and she's like, I've had enough with here. This is the last time I want to hear about your bloody Bile-Lizard. So the leg collector, meanwhile, is also planning a bank robbery. It's like, yes, once I go in to deposit this leg, I will get the crown jewels from the royal vault, and then I shall become Queen of England, and I'll be on the coins. And the sketchy salesman teleports in, and no, the sketchy salesman's on TV. The sketchy salesman is on TV and says to the leg collection, I have an amazing deal for you, an amazing offer right now. That's right, you can get yourself bank robbery tools. And the leg collector goes, oh ho ho, that's exactly what I need. End of scene. We're in the operating theatre. Dr. Eggman and Granny Starshine are present. Dr. Eggman is doing nothing because he is there on the operating table, and Granny Starshine is cutting him open because he's got appendicitis. She climbs into a crate, and she just kind of hopes that the appendicitis will go away of its own accord. And she's kind of like peeking out of this wee crate and going, and just doing nothing. And it's a real long moving scene. It's one of these scenes like in very kind of Darren Aronofsky kind of thing, where it's just a very long drawn out scene, and we see Dr. Eggman lying there on the operating table. He's only had a local anesthetic, so he's got kind of abdomen open, with his appendix open to the air, and Granny Starshine is just kind of hiding from it, and you just see close-ups of their faces for about 15 minutes. Dr. Eggman, having had enough of this, Dr. Eggman gets up and says, well, I can't be here all day. Appendicitis or no appendicitis, I have an important red carpet event to get to. And puts on a bright red cocktail dress. He plugs the fridge back in, and he rips out his appendix and puts it inside the fridge. And he says, this will keep my appendix stable for the next 24 hours while I go to this important red carpet event. So, and then he closes the door, and he I guess he leaves the offer. I mean, he's not been told to exit yet, so he's going to, Now what he's going to do, he's He's spoiling. He's got his red cocktail dress on. Maybe he starts putting on his makeup. He gets out his purse and he starts applying his lipstick, and looking very beautiful. Granny Starshine, meanwhile, looks at Dr. Eggman doing all this with his guts hanging out, and she realizes, like, with all of the wires and things, all of the medical equipment poking into Dr. Eggman right now, she realizes that he reminds her of someone. He reminds her of the Bile Lizard. And suddenly she realizes why the Bile Lizard, like, Snoozy McDoozy loved the Bile Lizard so much. She understands now. She sees it. She can see it in Dr. Eggman. And she runs up to him and she jumps out of the box, grabs his intestines and swings them like a lasso. And Dr. Eggman says, "Lasso? More like gasso," and does a big stinky fart. And so impressed with that job, we hear canned laughter, and he's very proud of himself. He turns to the camera and winks and is like, hey, I just did that. And then he rips off a red cocktail dress to reveal another red cocktail dress in kind of like, it's like, making your mind up, if you want to see some more. And he rips it off because he is in flow right now. He is making awesome comedy right now in this operating theater. Granny Starshine says, well, I'll have what he's having. And, yeah. Meanwhile, in the moon reconstruction site, which sounds like a typical fanfic. Yes, it sounds like a typical fanfic, a fanfic of the moon! And so, we can see Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, like, kissing in the background. Because there's an erotic fanfiction, an erotic moon landing fanfiction. That must exist on the internet. Anyway, it's happening right now. So Karen from Will and Grace, Granny Starshine, the Light Collector, the Brave Little Toaster, and Snoozy the Doozy are present. And Granny Starshine's wearing her elegant moon... And Karen says, well, I'm in the wrong movie. I can't do... that's my best of her. Well, I'm in the wrong movie. And she just leaves. So Granny Starshine fakes the moon landing, and she's like, and this is how they did it. And she sort of climbs out of the lunar lander and just does slow motion kind of moving. And she says, this is one small step for man. And Brave Little Toaster sees her doing that and remembers that just kind of floating in zero gravity, that's what the Bile Lizard used to do. That's how the Bile Lizard used to move. And the Brave Little Toaster realizes just how wonderful the Bile Lizard was, and becomes hopelessly in love with the Bile Lizard. Granny Starshine fixes Nixon's legs. She's got the half of Richard Nixon's legs. Maybe she's got other bits of Richard Nixon's leg. This is a point in the story. They have collected all the different bits of Richard Nixon's legs that they are trying to piece back together. Granny Starshine reassembles the legs, and the Leg Collector reverse engineers the Sims and goes, here's how we can put those legs into a virtual reality and find out where their originator has got to. That's the only way that we can, that's the only way we can find this Richard Nixon and return his leg powers back to him so he can save us from all the arc cannons that's causing a nuclear war right now. Leg Collector stirs the pot. The Leg Collector stirs the pot, and what's he doing? He's calling the president. He's calling the United States president. And he's like, United States president, I heard that China and Nicaragua and South Africa and Germany and Spain were all firing their arc cannons at us. And then hangs up. And he's like, that should buy us some time. So they're going to prolong the nuclear war. It's like to prolong the nuclear stalemate so that they have more time to get Richard Nixon's legs back to him. The brave little toaster, meanwhile, is so in love. The brave little toaster goes, I must leave now. I must go back to the moon to find the ashes of the bio-lizard. And so that I can reassemble it and make the bio-lizard again. So there's a kind of theme growing here now of reconstruction and we're trying to reconstruct Nixon's legs. We're trying to reconstruct the bio-lizard. So Granny Starshine causes a distraction, and she says, "Oh, look over there! It's the arc cannon!" And all the other characters, the leg collector and all the Snoozy Ladoozy, they're like distracted looking for this arc cannon. Snoozy Ladoozy has figured out how to stop an arc cannon now, and that's to override the power by putting in a fridge that's too powerful. So it's like it's got like a European plug and it should have an American plug. So he plugs in the fridge, thinking it's going to deactivate an arc cannon, and he's flicking the switch on and off, and nothing's happening. Leg Collector is continuing to work on the Sims and says, "Okay, I think we're ready to find out if the Sims model will help us reconnect the virtual Richard Nixon back to his Richard Nixon leg, so we can find out where the real Richard Nixon is. So I am going to go. I'm going to take one for the team. I'm going to try it on first," and puts the headset on, and he jacks into the game. He jacks into the Sims, and he becomes a Sim. Granny Starshine says, "First, before you jack in, Leg Collector, take this seashell." I was like, "Oh, thank you. But I'm going to need you to pay for that." I was like, oh, sorry. And he gives her $5 for the seashell. And then, as he's jacking in, Granny Starshine sings an aria. "Oh, Leg Collector, Leg Collector, Leg Collector." Now, he's jacked in. He's in the Sims. The Sims is loading, and it's taking forever to load. She's wiggling the mouse. She's clicking the mouse. And he's like so frustrated with Windows 95 taking so long to load. And she says, "Ooga chaka, ooga chaka, ooga chaka, ooga chaka," to try and encourage it to load. And then at the end of the scene, like, error appears on screen, and all these dancing babies appear on the screen. And it's like, no, they got a dancing baby virus, and the Leg Collector is trapped in the game with the dancing baby virus. How will they ever find Richard Nixon now? Meanwhile, outside Station Square, overlooking Station Square, so we've got Stephen Fry, the handsome prospector, a sassy goose, Granny Starshine, and Tim Curry are all there. She's still wearing her elegant moon gown, and handsome prospector is no longer interested in Granny Starshine. He's selling seashells now, and the sassy goose bites Stephen Fry. Granny Starshine leaves, and she says, "I must go deep into Station Square now. I need to find the office where this all began." And so she's going off to the office where it all began to find out. She's going to the original meeting of all the villains. And it's like to find out what was left behind there. Are there any clues as to how they are going to find Richard Nixon's missing leg? So the sassy goose bites Stephen Fry, and Stephen Fry is like, "Oh my, why did you do that, sassy goose? Ow, that really hurts. And does anyone have any interesting facts about geese? Anyone? Will do. Who can tell me? Where do geese fly in the winter?" And he turns into a puddle of Icelandic yogurt. So Stephen Fry is a puddle of Icelandic yogurt now. Handsome Prospector has just got a text on his phone and he's won the lottery. He could give up the gold prospecting business now if only he weren't so addicted to it. But these three, I mean, I feel like this is our kind of Greek chorus now, is that they're looking on. They are looking on as Granny Starshine is trying to recover the missing leg of Richard Nixon to stop the art cannon. And they are, they are commenting on it. Stephen Fry is in disguise. He's disguised as Icelandic yogurt. And he says, they won't notice me when I'm disguised as Icelandic yogurt. The sassy goose has a set of intestines nearby, which it swings like a lasso. So this is our kind of Greek chorus, and they kind of offer us a chance to reflect on the story so far, where they're doing all of this stuff, and we kind of witness the absurdity of it. We're witnessing the absurdity of it. We're witnessing the absurdity of this sassy goose swinging intestines, and Stephen Fry as an Icelandic yogurt, and Tim Curry's just there. Tim Curry is just there, just enjoying this, and he turns to the camera and says, well, I wonder how they're going to find the missing leg of Richard Nixon now. Stephen Fry, meanwhile, as a lump of yogurt, reenacts the story so far. So he's blobbing around. What was the story so far? So they're looking for Richard Nixon's missing leg to operate the art cannon, which is at Disneyland, Florida. That was the first art cannon. So he reenacts. He turns into the shape of the art cannon, firing at the moon in the alternate universe, and then into he morphs into the art cannon getting sent from the alternate universe into this one by Winnie the Pooh in the alternate universe office inside Station Square. And the sassy goose is like, oh, I'm having none of this, and with a click and a flap, just kind of scoots off. Fly south for winter. The sassy goose thinks that the yogurt is snow, so it must be winter, so it instinctively begins flying south. Stephen Fry starts their life anew. Stephen Fry says, I am embracing this yogurty lifestyle now, and goes to film the new series of QI as a pile of yogurt. Meanwhile, in a Norfolk village, Granny Starshine is appearing in a lot of scenes at the moment because I think Granny Starshine is the only character we've requested more of. So, if there's other characters you want to see more of, type in more, and then, they'll appear in more scenes as well. But right now, I think Granny Starshine is appearing in every scene, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So you've got grandparent Sun Hayes, Granny Starshine. She is the hero of the story. And more sassy goose, or a sassier goose. Snoozy Lagoozy and Grandpa Moonshadow. It's all the moon people in the Norfolk village. They're in the Norfolk village with Snoozy Lagoozy. And she's wearing her elegant moon gown. Now, why are they there? Tim Curry is there. They're in Norfolk. This is before the story even began. Tim Curry has come to them with a prophecy. And he says, old moon people, I'm Tim Curry. And I've got a prophecy for you. And my prophecy, it's a really good prophecy, is that you will one day seek the leg of Richard Nixon to stop the arc cannon. And the only one who can stop the arc cannon is a giant pile of yogurt. Oh, how delightfully droll. Snoozy the Doozy noodles on a guitar and is singing, Yogurt prophecy. And she says, because this is a younger Granny Starshine. She's only 60 at this point in the story. And she says, oh, I've had it up to here with your prophecies, Tim Curry. And Tim Curry is, oh, I like it when I get under your skin, Granny Starshine. And she says, oh, Well, speaking of getting under your skin, and she reveals a sick tattoo, and that's like, because it's getting under her skin, and that's her dad joke, and her sick tattoo. What has her sick tattoo got written on it? Is her sick tattoo is a picture of a mound of yogurt. A mound of yogurt in disguise. Grandparent Sunshine Grandparent Sunhaze bans yogurt from the universe. He says, well, I don't like your prophecies, Tim Curry. I will make sure it never comes true. And using the power of the sun, bans all yogurt. And then visits the local co-op to check if the yogurt is gone. Granny Starshine leaves, says, I must go now and stop this, to make this prophecy come true or whatever. I don't know, I just need to stop. I need to find out how to stop these art cannon. I don't even know what a art cannon is, so I have to stop it. Grandpa Moonshadow is trapped in a glass box of emotion, going, help me, I'm trapped in a glass box. And Grandparent Sunhaze goes insane at the co-op. And so he comes back from the co-op and says, There's yogurt everywhere! There's yogurt everywhere! I'm losing my powers! Snoozy the Doozy says, oh, this is terrible. I must go to the moon. The only thing that can stop the arc cannons is on the moon, I think. I know this somehow. I know I must go to the moon to stop the arc cannon. I must go to the moon, and I will bring back yogurt from the moon, because they make good yogurt on the moon. I will bring back a yogurt in disguise from the moon, and I must bring it to Granny Starhaze in the future, in the distant future. And that's the end of that scene. Scene 13. Outside the lost city of Atlantis, Nothing and Mr. Monopoly are present. So, the lost city of Atlantis. And they are making the first art cannon. Mr. Monopoly is like, speaking to Nothing. It's like, I have all the money in the world. And yet I am not happy. What happiness can you give me? And he's talking to an empty void. His only friend. His money has made him alone, and he's speaking to Nothing. The empty void. His only friend. And he's like, Oh, Nothing. What can make me happy? I am so upset. And the sassy goose enters and says, well, Mr. Monopoly, have I got a thing for you? I could sell you the schematics for an arc cannon. And you'll be like, oh no he didn't, because I'm a goose. And the echoes in the air pipes up and says, Mr. Monopoly, I am here to announce something to you, Mr. Monopoly. And seeing a vision of Karl Marx, he realizes, Mr. Monopoly, you have been a terrible capitalist. And so, for your wishes, having wished for an arc cannon, I will grant you your wish, but I shall make sure it goes horribly, horribly wrong for you. This is the Crown Jeweler. And the Crown Jeweler enters. And the Crown Jeweler says, the Crown Jeweler says, sorry, the Crown Jeweler says, I don't know what the Crown Jeweler says. The Crown Jeweler said just jeweling and just making a hat for Mr. Monopoly. And it's like, Nothing noodles on the guitar and says, Mr. Monopoly, I shall make you the ruler of a destroyed world. A world that has been burnt to ashes by arc cannons, and then your money will be worthless, and you shall learn the lesson of Karl Marx, you evil, evil capitalist. And Sassy Goose is like, ow! Your music Your music is the one thing that can stop me. The one thing that can stop me is your beautiful song, Nothing. The crown jeweler takes a vow of silence and forgets their lines mid-sentence, which is an interesting combination. We are outside. We are outside the fridge. The sentient Comme des Garçons limited edition wallet, Mr. Monopoly, and 3 kids that are in a trench coat are present. It's the modern day. It's a Monopoly. It's a modern day. The art cannons are firing across the world. You know, London has been blown up by an arc cannon. Sydney has been blown up by an arc cannon. There's an arc cannon pointed at the moon right now. Where else has been... Madrid has been blown up by an arc cannon. And the 3 kids... And Mr. Monopoly, with his limited edition wallet, says, "Oh no! Oh no, my money did not make me happy. All I did was become the world's #1 producer of arc cannons, and now those arc cannons are being used to destroy the world. Oh no, and there's only... What if... Can I plug in a fridge to stop them?" And he's trying to plug in this fridge, but it's not stopping the arc cannons. Boom! An arc cannon fires. Another major city blows up. It's Paris! Paris gets exploded by an arc cannon. Mr. Monopoly says, I cannot live with my sins any longer. I must be silent." And starts instead twisting his mustache in an attempt to flirt with 3 kids in a trench coat who he thinks is a grown adult. So it's not inappropriate because he believes that they are a grown adult. Noodles on his guitar, kind of breaking his verbal vow of silence, and he starts, Mr. Monopoly becomes struggling to get Monopoly money out of his pocket. He's looking in his pocket, he's got no more money. He can't pay the fridge bill. He can't pay the electricity bill for the fridge anymore. And he's bankrupt. He's become bankrupt. He bankrupted himself. By buying too many... So he couldn't pay the electricity bills on the fridges required to overload the arc cannons. So, he's very sad. And the 3 kids in the trench coat are looking at him, and they are like, This was supposed to be our future. You have destroyed our future, Mr. Monopoly. What have you done? You have created an apocalyptic scenario for us. The sentient Comme des Garçons limited edition wallet says, Mr. Monopoly, you can't take that kind of attitude. You must, oh God. Oh, line? Not realizing that this is real life. It's real life. This is not a film set anymore. This is real life. What's going on in real life. And the arc cannons are going to fire. The arc cannons are firing and blowing everything up, and there's nothing they can do to stop them. The 3 kids in a trench coat go insane. They go, "No! Our beautiful planet! I was going to go to..." That wasn't really a child. This is my child voice. There's my child voice. Oh no, you're destroying our planet. I was going to go to the Seychelles and swim with the manatees, but now all the manatees have been blown up with arc cannons. The sentient Comme des Garçons limited edition wallet walks with a jaunty bounce in its step. It's a walking, strutting wallet, which goes insane, and it's just strutting and dancing, and is like, "This is your future, this is your future, this is your future now. This is what capitalism has done. Capitalism has caused you all to build arc cannons and blow each other up. This is me. This is what I wanted all along. I am the depiction of money. I am the manifestation of money in the real world. And this is a poetic representation of money destroying all that is good with the world." The guard that always lies enters and says, "There's no way you can survive this." Now, we don't know We don't know if he's the guard that always lies or guard that always tells the truth. We, the audience, assume this character to always tell the truth. So we think this is impossible. There's no way to stop it. And the Monopoly man he's in tears now. He's in tears, knowing he sees what he has done. And is there a way that he can repent his sins, his capitalistic sins? Is there a way that he can repent these things? The guard that always lies waves a wand and says, I can magic these arc cannons and switch them off. Bing! And of course, nothing happens. Nothing happens. And interesting that it's got... the actions are new actions. I've not really noticed when it said actions. If there's a lot of actions that are not registering, let me know. But I have no idea why it would think that is too similar to singing like a Disney character. If you're struggling to... If it's saying that for most new actions, is it? Interesting. Okay, I guess we just live with that for now, but I'll fix it in future. I want to keep the flow going, so I'm not going to fix it immediately, but that's really useful to know, so I just made a post-it note of it. Because it checks for things being similar, but it's clearly... its idea of what's too similar is wrong. So, yeah. Okay, keep on trying. So, we're outside Station Square. Jellybean the Wonder Dog and Mr. Monopoly are both present. Mr. Monopoly is struggling to get Monopoly money out of his pocket. And Jellybean the Wonder Dog grows a new leg. They have ventured into Station Square, hoping that they too can find the origin of the art cannon. They are looking for the office where the first art cannon came through the portal from the alternate universe, so that they can maybe the schematics are there. That's what it was. The schematics got passed through the alternate universe where the moon got blown up with the art cannon. Someone passed the schematics through to the other side. Mr. Monopoly sips some coffee while reading Yahoo Finance. And Jellybean the Wonder Dog is walking with a jaunty bounce and struggling not to laugh and saying, "Oh, Mr. Monopoly, come with me. I shall take you to the place where this all began. I shall take you to the place where the schematics for the arc cannon were sent through the portal, and maybe you'll be able to use that knowledge to find out how to stop it." And Jellybean the Wonder Dog throws a pie. Just throws a pie. Where does he throw a pie? He basically throws it straight into Mr. Monopoly's face. Mr. Monopoly is so sad. He is so depressed by what he has done. He doesn't even notice. He's got pie goo all over his face, and he just keeps on walking on. That shows us, the audience, that he has reached his lowest ebb. That he has reached his lowest ebb. Mr. Monopoly bites Stephen Fry. Stephen Fry is there. He's a puddle of yogurt and says, "Oh, this puddle of yogurt will this will make me happy. And just starts eating, biting, chomping away at this big puddle of yogurt in disguise. It's Stephen Fry. It's made of yogurt. He's in disguise as something edible. Karen enters from Will and Grace and says in a very high-pitched voice, I'm Karen, and I'm gonna do what Granny Starshine would have done in this situation, because she guest starred in an episode of Will and Grace, and I saw her on the episode of Will and Grace. Come with me. Come towards the office. So here we are. We're going towards the office in Station Square, the office building where the alternate universe version of the schematics for the art canon got building on. So the Monopoly Man and Granny Starshine are on their way there. Meanwhile, in the back seat of an old Nissan, Jimmy Carr, Sassy Goose, and the Leg Collector are present. They are staking out the office in Station Square, where the art canon schematics, where they're going to find them, and they are staking it out. The Sassy Goose is waiting for Granny Starshine to appear. Sassy Goose is eating a delicious bowl of ramen and tells a grandmother joke. And the Sassy Goose, she says, ramen? More like ramen my face full of delicious noodles. And she says it in a really sassy way. And then she kisses every character. She's just like, which is Jimmy Carr and the Leg Collector. And Jimmy Carr finds this hilarious. So he's like, and Leg Collector starts his life anew. He says, quiet, Jimmy. Quiet with your laughter, Jimmy Carr. Quiet. I'm starting my life anew. I'm turning my life around. I'm using my leg collecting powers for good. Who knew that when I gave away that leg to the moon, that I was giving away the one thing that could stop the art cannons? And now I must repent. I must do some good for the world. And Sassy Goose is like, oh no, not doing good for the world. She becomes feeling weird. She doesn't like good. She doesn't like this weird. And the Leg Collector is like, it's like, whatever. Whatever. I don't know, it's done something funny to that sentence, but it's like, whatever. And gets out of the car, and it's like, no, I'm not, I'm going. The Leg Collector gets out. The Leg Collector is going into the building to look for the schematics. Look for the schematics to the art canon to find out how to stop it. So, okay, so where we are in the story right now is the art cannons are going off. The only thing that can stop them is the top bit of half of Richard Nixon's leg, which we believe Jimmy Carr gets out of the car as well, and it's like, and it's just leaves the Sassy Goose. The Sassy Goose is in the car, in the back seat of the Nissan on her own, and she's like, oh no, you didn't just leave my Nissan. Outside, on the outside of the space shuttle. So we are flashing back once again. To the space shuttle. Thomas the Tank Engine is that program thinks it's a typo, so to correct it to what it knows already. Yes. yes, he is. Sassy Goose is feeling weird. The Sassy Goose is like, oh, I don't feel so good up in space on the outside of this space shuttle. And Thomas the Tank Engine, having just attached himself to the outside of the space shuttle from the moon. He's just, grabbed on from the moon, is flying through space on the back of this thing. And Usain Bolt he's got a exit Thomas the Tank Engine. Okay, Thomas the Tank Engine's jumped off the thing, and Usain Bolt is saying, well, I was supposed to appear in a vision for Thomas the Tank Engine to tell him how to stop the arc cannon, and well, he's gone now. So, Sassy Goose, do you want to do that? And the Sassy Goose is like, and becomes like a raptor, I think. Is that what that is? So it's like, and starts devolving back into a raptor, and then flies off, devolving into a raptor. Usain Bolt says, well, My work here is done, and drives off in his car. So he drives his car back down to planet Earth and goes to an off license to buy a bottle of soda. And he gets his bottle of soda, he gets back into his car, and he starts driving down Route 66 and reminiscing, reflecting on the situation so far. Remember, this is a flashback. This is a flashback to when Thomas the Tank Engine was coming down to planet Earth. And Mr. Monopoly hops into his car, hops into Usain Bolt's car, and says, "Help me, Usain Bolt. I've made millions of money selling arc cannons all around the world, but now I fear I have lost my soul. I fear I have lost my soul, that I have done a terrible, terrible thing, and this is going to cause a nuclear war." And Usain Bolt is like, "Oh my god, Mr. Monopoly's in my car," and he throws him out of the car, and Mr. Monopoly falls into some quicksand and says, "Help! Help me, Usain Bolt! I'm sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. I just need help. Help me." And he's like, I'm in the quicksand. I'm sinking in the quicksand. And Usain Bolt says, "Quick, grab my hand. Grab my hand." And he pulls Mr. Monopoly out of the quicksand. Out of this quicksand. I'm amazed that it thinks these things are similar. I've done something terribly, terribly wrong. So, Mr. Monopoly's being dragged out of the quicksand by Usain Bolt, and Usain Bolt says, well, he pulls him out of the quicksand, and now he's out, and he's panting. He's like, he says, "I've saved your life, Mr. Monopoly, but until you repent your sinful ways, this will be the last time I save your life," and drives off. Mr. Monopoly has changed costume. Meanwhile, Mr. Monopoly has put on a sexy red dress, a sexy red cocktail dress, and says, "If I must renounce my capitalist ways and embrace love." And that's the only depiction of love he has, is sex appeal. So, meanwhile, in Station Square, Granny Starshine is wearing her elegant moon gown. She goes into the office where where stuff emerged from the portal. And she says a poem about the BBC. She says, "The BBC would not decree that they would like to make a movie with me, but I have come to Station Square, and I shall find the schematics there." A Venus flytrap grows out of the ground and says, "Granny Starshine, if you wish to get to the schematics, you must get past me first." And Granny Starshine, she's got, how can she stop the Venus flytrap? She's got her magic wand, but she doesn't trust. Can I use my magic wand again? Because last time I used it, I grew an extra leg, and it was horribly horrific. Do I still have an extra leg now? Let's say yes. But she says, "Wait, I've got this. I have the power to grow extra legs. I can do this." And so, with a whirl of her wand, she casts a magic spell at the Venus flytrap. The Venus flytrap grows extra legs all over and is immobilized, and she walks past it into the lift. She presses the button. It goes bing. She walks through and she goes up. And the camera pans back to the Venus flytrap, covered in legs, just legs growing out of it everywhere, and going, "Oh no, Granny Starshine is too powerful. When she gets the schematics, our plan will be ruined." And then laments, and says, "Now that I am covered in legs, I must go and warn the others. I must go and warn all the other evildoers that Granny Starshine has the schematics. So the Venus flytrap on all of its legs starts running. And it starts running. It's got a body covered with legs. And it just starts running. And it, like, dives out of the door and into the streets of Station Square. It's like, in order to have the energy to run fast enough to find enough people to tell, like, to find all the evildoers, it needs a refreshing bottle of Lucozade. So it drinks its Lucozade. It goes, if I am supposed to run fast, I'm going to need shorter toenails. So it goes and gets a pedicure. And then while it's there, it samples the olives and it chokes on an olive pit and dies. So it's like, okay, that's one threat gone. So we are in the set of the building. We're in the set of the building, the office building where the schematics for the cannon is there, and BioLizard is waiting, boasting about half the cast being in love with it, and it breaks the fourth wall with a comic aside, and it's like, well, I'm gonna be getting a lot of loving tonight from the cast. In a way that is funny. We'll rewrite that line. In the edit. And the BioLizard is boasting, and it's doing its Twitch stream. The BioLizard is doing its Twitch stream, and it's reading its favorite segments from the schematics. For the art cannon. It hops in a car and drives away. Through the portal into the other world. So it drives through the portal into the other world. And it drives and it's out and it gets into the portal on the other world, and we can see it's just gone through a hole into another set, and we can see the set now, and it's just in this car with one of these kind of, it's on a green screen background with like fans blowing like leaves at it, and it's driving, and it's still live streaming. It's live streaming on its phone, and it's on a decades old internet. So this is not the final scene. We're building up to the climax. But no. There's 30 minutes left of this movie. So BioLizard fades to black as the credits roll. Maybe the rest is post-credit scenes. Maybe the rest of the story is told in post-credit scenes. Or it's like, this is the opening credits. So, it fades to black. The story fades to black. The BioLizard fades to black with the schematics and says, they'll never catch me in this other universe. The credits start to roll. As we see the BioLizard driving off into the sunset. In a little box window in the corner. Stephen Fry enters during the credits and says, did you really think this was the end of the story? Who here thought this was the end of the story? And you hear Alan Davies pipe up and say, oh, I did. I thought it was the end. And then it goes, woo, 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 woo. And it's like the end of the story flashes up on the screen. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry. It's not the end of the story. And the BioLizard asks a tricky question. He says, Stephen Fry, how will they stop the arc cannons, if they can stop the arc cannons at all? And we'll never know. We'll never know the answer. In the Norfolk Village, this is after where I am with Mr. Monopoly. Mr. Monopoly is stuck in quicksand. We're in the Norfolk Village, and I pull him out, and I say, Mr. Monopoly, fancy seeing you here. And he says, Alistair, I love your streams, by the way. I love your streams. They're really funny and creative. Now that I have I'm repenting my my sinful capitalist ways, maybe I can be just like you. And I'm like, good luck with that, mate. And I walk off. Mr. Monopoly is in the Norfolk Village, the interior of the Norfolk Village. And like, so where's he there looking for? He is looking for the prophecy. He's looking for the prophecy, and he walks into the house of the three grandparents, the house of the grandparents where the things were given, the prophecies were given, and he's rifling through the notes that they made, and he sees the one on the yogurt. The yogurt will be the thing that saves them from the art cannons. And he's so shocked to have found it that he starts having a heart attack. He grabs a defibrillator and shouts, "Clear! Ka-chunk! Clear! Ka-chunk! Clear! Ka-chunk!" and comes back to life. There is only one way to stop the art cannons, and that is with yogurt. So he goes into the Norfolk village. He runs out into the Norfolk village streets and runs around looking for yogurt shops, and then realizes he's out of money. He's found a Lidl. There's a Lidl, and the Lidl's got special price yogurt, and he's like, "But I've got no money. I went bankrupt. But I've got seashells." And he goes to the counter. It's like, "Will you accept seashells in exchange for yogurt?" And they say, no, we only accept money here. So he goes out onto the street saying, "Buy my seashells. Please, somebody, buy my seashells. Please, somebody." And we see the desperation in his eyes. We see that the Monopoly man is a broken man now. He's broken. He's like, I'm so broken. And he needs to get the yogurt. He needs to get the yogurt to stop the bile lizard. He finds a pot on the floor. A pot of milk. And he says, "Well, if I can't buy yogurt, maybe I can make it." And he starts vigorously stirring the milk pot to try and turn it into yogurt. Meanwhile, in a fake Australia, inside a fake Australia, right next door to the moon landing, Jimmy Carr and I am present. And I'm giving behind-the-scenes sneak peeks. And I'm saying, well, okay, so really, like, this set, because it looks like a film set, but actually it's all occurring in the theatre of the mind. And that's what's kind of magic about it. And Jimmy Carr is saying, and he tells some really inappropriate jokes. And I say, oh, Jimmy, this is a family-friendly stream. Please, could you not do that? And then leave. Jimmy Carr is on the film set, and he finds in the fake Australia, he's looking around in the outback, and behind the fake Ayers Rock, he finds something. He finds half a leg of Richard Nixon. How did it get here? Who did it get here? And who put it here? And why is it covered in yogurt? Why is it covered in yogurt? He looks down and he sees the portal. The portal has opened up in this fake Australia, the portal to the other world, and the yogurt is there. Some yogurty figure is trying to help them out. He needs to get this yogurt. He needs to get this yogurt to the wherever the yogurt goes. He needs to get the yogurty leg back to Granny Sunshine, and he's like, well, this is my chance to redeem myself. But how do I get to Granny thing? And a sketchy salesman the sketchy salesman comes on the TV and says, Do you want to find out how to... Do you want to get this to the person who needs it most? Well, do I have a means of transport for you? Teleportation. You can teleport with the Bio-Lizard, because the Bio-Lizard uses the Chaos Control to teleport, and the Bio-Lizard can bring you to the original art canon, and if Granny thingy is there, and you can put the leg in the art cannon in the right location which is known because Granny Thingy has the schematics. And the sexy salesman, he slept with Stephen Fry to make the Biolizard jealous. That's what you need to do. You need to make the Biolizard jealous. Jimmy Carr, you need to sleep with people. You need to go out and sleep with people, and then the Biolizard will find you. And the sketchy salesman, face of black, it says, you have been watching sketchy TV. You've been watching sketchy TV. That fades, the credits roll. And he says, I know what I must do. The sexy salesman pops up on the screen and goes, awooga, hubba hubba. And then leaves. And that's how Jimmy Carr knows what to do. Jimmy Carr needs to go out into the world and have sex with everybody. Have sex with everybody so that the Biolizard can hear. Maybe he needs to have sex next to the portal so that the Biolizard can hear. So that the Biolizard can hear, because then the Biolizard will come to him. That's what he needs. That's what he needs. He needs to make the Biolizard gesture. He needs to make kissy faces at people because it's a family-friendly stream. So there's not that much sex in this film. It's mostly kissy faces. They do a lot of kissy faces. That's what the Biolizard wants. He wants kissy faces. He what's he do? Who's he going to go and kiss? Who's he going to go and kiss? He kisses the moon rocks. He kisses the moon rocks. And he visits the local co-op and says, okay, people, who wants to kiss me, Jimmy Carr? And all the shoppers in the local co-op, they recognize him and they're like, oh my god, it's Jimmy Carr of the TV. I want to make kissy faces with him. And he sets up a kissing booth. He sets up a kissing booth and he's like, Come into my kissing booth and make kissy faces with me. And so they make the kissy faces. They make and they're all kissing him. Everyone's kissing Jimmy Carr, and then they all start kissing each other, and everyone's just kissing each other, and it's like, this is set pre-COVID, so they're all kissing each other. The sketchy salesman walks into the room and says, he pats Jimmy on the shoulder and says, Jimmy, this is exactly what you needed to do. And the portal opens up. And you can hear the heavy breathing of the jealous Biolizard. The jealous Biolizard is here. So inside the Lidl, Captain Noodle, Biolizard, and Nintendo Wii are present. The Biolizard is boasting about half the cast being in love with it when it hears from the other side of a portal. The other side of a portal, because it's in the alternate universe. It finds out, it hears the noise, and it's all the kissing. It's all the kissing from Jimmy Carr in the fake Australia. And he's boasting about half the cast being in love with it. And then is like, oh no. Oh, I thought everyone was in love with me. But clearly, people are not in love with me because they're in love with each other, and becomes jealous. Captain Noodle pretends not to be jealous, but Captain Noodle is pretty jealous as well. The Nintendo Wii exits. The Nintendo Wii exits through the portal into the Jimmy Carr world. And we hear the combination of kissing sounds and the boom boom sound of a Nintendo Wii, starting out. We hear the sound of with kind of smooching sounds and kind of sexy noises coming from the other side. And the Biolizard is intensely jealous now, and the Biolizard jumps through the portal into the Lidl, into the Jimmy Carr Lidl, into the Jimmy Carr Lidl, dragging Captain Noodle with him into Jimmy Carr's world. And Captain Noodle is pretending not to be jealous. And Captain Noodle says, look, it's Richard Nixon's leg. It's Richard Nixon's leg, right there, covered in delicious yogurt. Now the bile lizard is hungry. The bile lizard cannot resist the delicious yogurt, and says, should I eat this yogurt even if I don't know how old it is and it might have gone off? And Captain Noodle says, go on, do it. Go on, do it. Eat that leg. I'm not jealous. Eat that yogurty Richard Nixon leg. See if I care. So bile lizard opens its mouth and devours the Richard Nixon leg. It devours the Richard Nixon leg and starts to glow. Usain Bolt runs in and says, oh no, I was too late. As bile lizard starts raising up off the ground, surging with power, and becoming all powerful. It starts attracting all of the arc cannons in the world towards it. It starts floating up and glowing, and the arc cannons all lift up and start attaching themselves to the bile lizard. Meanwhile, in the interior of the moon, watching on a camera, there is a guard that can only tell the truth. Jellybean the Wonder Dog, Mr. Monopoly, and Sheriff Pumpernickel, the crypto bro. Jellybean the Wonder Dog is playing a sick guitar solo, and the guard that can only tell the truth says, Mr. Monopoly, this is time for your final confrontation with the thing. And then turns with the bile lizard and turns into a puddle of Icelandic yogurt. Now, Mr. Monopoly, he's seen the prophecy. He knows that Icelandic yogurt is the only thing that can stop the bile lizard. So he smothers himself in the yogurty goo of the Icelandic yogurt. He drenches himself in the goo and says, with this gooey power, I shall be powerful enough to fight against the bile lizard. And he jumps up into the air and he flies into the bile lizard, which is all charging up. He's all charging up and like getting covered in arc cannons, which are firing willy-nilly into the universe, blowing up faraway planets and stuff. And he flies idiocy, and Jellybean the Wonder Dog, puts down his guitar for a moment and stirs up a pot of yogurt to make it nice and, to get the fruit up from the bottom, and then pours it on top of the Monopoly guy's head and says, Monopoly guy, now you are ready. And the Monopoly guy, now covered in peach melba, flies into the air and is flying through the air, flying in space, covered in yogurt, leaving yogurty trails through the sky, and goes up and knows, he makes a vow of silence. He knows that he must focus on what is ahead, his final battle with the bile lizard. Because it was he, through the powers of capitalism, who unleashed the arc cannons upon the world, who made it so that every rich capitalist had to own an arc cannon. And now he is having his final battle. Winnie the Pooh exits this scene. Oh no! We know that Winnie the Pooh was a villain. We know that Winnie the Pooh is a shifty character. What's he got planned? The bile lizard sees Mr. Monopoly flying through space, leaving a yogurty trail, and goes, I like delicious, delicious yogurt. And he eats Mr. Monopoly whole. In one bite. Mr. Monopoly is dead. Mr. Monopoly has been eaten alive. He died thinking he was going to save the world, but now he has sacrificed himself all for naught. You know, maybe that's poetic justice for his sins, his capitalist sins. The guard that can only tell the truth struggles not to laugh, because he was like, I can't believe I managed to trick him into killing himself, into getting eaten by the bile lizard entirely by telling the truth. And Mr. Monopoly suddenly gets utterly intense, unpleasant childhood flashbacks. He's like, he remembers being eaten alive when he was a child. That's what inspired him to become a capitalist in the first place. Was the sense that it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. That he was partly eaten by a dog. And that's why he has this mechanical leg. He has a mechanical leg because his leg got eaten by a dog. The guard that can only tell the truth watches the scene with Jellybean the Wonder Dog eating delicious yogurt, knowing that they've just done what needed to be done. Mr. Monopoly, it was revealed in his flashback. He has a flashback where a dog is eating his leg, and he gets a mechanical leg to replace the leg that went missing. Jellybean the Wonder Dog hums a tune to the Titanic. Can more people type in more? I've forgotten what the granny's name was. That was Granny Sunshine, Grandmother Sunshine. I've forgotten what her name was now. But because I think we're coming up to the finale, and it'd be really nice to end with a scene with her in it, if we can. If she comes up, we're on the Mecha Lizard and Winnie the Pooh are present on the IGN forum board. You already asked for more of her. Alright, shall we just say that she's present as well? Shall we just say that she's present as well for the grand finale? They're on IGN forum board. Mecha Lizard and Winnie the Pooh are both there we go. Okay, cool. Okay, so hopefully she'll appear in the next scene. Hopefully. The Mecha Lizard and Winnie the Pooh are present. And Mecha Lizard is has it been done? And Winnie the Pooh says, oh yes. Everyone who can stop the Bio Lizard has been destroyed. Everyone who's in the prophecy has been destroyed. And Jimmy Carr's there, and Jimmy Carr says, I'm laughing out of fear. Look what you made me do. You set me up, Winnie the Pooh. You set me up. When you gave me that prophecy about the yogurt, all that the yogurt did was give the Bio Lizard more power. And he's carrying a car. He says, Winnie the Pooh, all you did is give me the... You made me bring him to Earth, and now he's orbiting the planet Earth, firing arc cannons everywhere. And he's carrying a car, and he says, Winnie the Pooh, this is what I've got in store for you. And he throws a car at Winnie the Pooh in revenge. And Winnie the Pooh gets crushed by the car. And Jimmy Carr says, FaceTimes Granny Sunshine and says, Granny Sunshine, I found the person who's behind this all. It was Winnie the Pooh. And then he turns into a puddle of Icelandic yogurt and says, oh, I got yogurted too. I've been infected by the yogurt powers. You need to jump in here through your phone. And get this, because the leg was Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh is considering revealing his master plan and says, oh, my secret family recipe of kimchi is you put like salt in it, but not too much salt, and also the heads of matchsticks. That's how we make it so good. And then dies. And then so Jimmy Carr is dead. He's a dead thing of he's dead because Winnie the Pooh has just eaten him. Winnie the Pooh has had his bottom half crushed off. They thought he was dead because the car landed on him. No, it just ripped his bottom half off. And he's crawled up. Dragged his body behind him, dragged a trail of blood to the phone, and he's like eaten the Jimmy Carr. Nom, 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 nom. And is considering revealing his master plan. And Winnie the Pooh says, Yes, Sushi Chef is here. And she says, Granny Starshine, you'll never stop this plan, because the only way you can stop the biolizard is by getting it to ingest the leg of Richard Nixon, the magical leg of Richard Nixon. And I am the magical leg of Richard Nixon. And then we end the scene. Space shuttle, exterior, a sushi chef is cooking delicious sushi for Granny Starshine, saying, you'll need some of this delicious fugu in order to, and these salmon rolls. Have some delicious salmon California rolls to give you the power to fight the biolizard. And Tonya Harding's there, and she gives Granny Starshine a baseball bat, or like a lead pipe, or whatever it was, a crowbar, I don't know, it's like a pipe, and says, smash its legs with this. They hate that. Jellybean the Wonder Dog says, jumps in and says, oh, I don't think you'll be stopping the biolizard anytime soon. Your planet is doomed. And Granny Starshine saying, I think it's you who is doomed, Jellybean the Wonder Dog. And is piloting the space shuttle all the way to IGN headquarters, because she did location tracking on Jimmy Carr's phone. She knows exactly she knows exactly where Winnie the Pooh was and where Jimmy the Car was, and she knows that they're the IGN headquarters, and she uses the decades-old internet forum to find out their exact address. So she's flying the space shuttle down there. She crashes through the wall. The wall tumbles down, and there is Winnie the Pooh, covered in yogurt, and with bleeding out from the end. And she looks at him, and she realizes, oh, those aren't ears on his head. Those are toes. Winnie the Pooh was Richard Nixon's leg all along, wearing a t-shirt. Jellybean the Wonder Dog tells a dad joke. It's like, looks like he's not getting very far without a leg up. And so she grabs the leg, and she's like, how she's got to use the power of the leg, but she's crashed the spaceship. She's crashed the shuttle, so she can't fly back up into space with the thing. So she's got the leg. She's got her magic wand. And meanwhile, in the bloopers reel, 3 kids in a trench coat, Granny Starshine, Thomas the Tank Engine, and Jimmy Carr and present. The 3 Cars in Charlton is a villain's typing on form. Granny Starshine steals confident. Thomas the Tank Engine is okay. So yeah, I don't know. We're in the bloopers reel. They're in the bloopers reel, and Granny Starshine is meant to pilot the shuttle to crash it into the IGN headquarters, and she misses, and she lands it perfectly, and it doesn't crash, and it's fine. And she's like, oh no, I messed up that scene. And Jimmy Carr, the dead body of Jimmy Carr, says, Granny, emerge from the bloopers reel. And she's like, remember what happened in the final cut of the film. And Granny Starshine exits. She jumps through the portal, and no, she doesn't. She jumps out into the real world and drags her working shuttle with her. And Thomas the Tank Engine says, oh, I still didn't have a chance to eat her. That was my plan from the very beginning. I was going to do that. And the villains, and 3 kids in a trench coat, and it's like, oh no, in this, we can only take over the world if the film goes exactly to the script. And if things go wrong, then that gives her a chance of stopping the biolizard. Thomas the Tank Engine establishes a local bank, and he says, well, if we're going to be in a liminal space between films, then I'm going to be the richest tank engine in this plot. Okay, so I'm going to... what buttons can I press to hurry things along? Because I would like to get us into a final scene with Granny Starshine. Granny Starshine. So we're gonna... It's Jimmy Carr's backyard. Asa Aitchison is present. Okay, I'm giving behind-the-scenes sneak peeks. I'm saying I'm in Jimmy Carr's backyard. And I'm just giving sneak peeks and saying, okay, so this is actually how it was made. All of this was made up on the spot, and I actually used help from the audience to make it happen. And I'm going to press space again to try and summon Granny Starshine into it. There's a set on the current scene. Granny Starshine and Granny Starshine in present. We see this is the film. Grandparent Sunhaze and Granny Starshine. Grandparent Starshine and Granny Starshine, and we pan out and we see the Granny Starshine from the bloopers reel and the Granny Starshine from real life are both there, and the Granny Starshine from the bloopers reel has the space shuttle, and she says, "Get in this space shuttle, other Granny Starshine. You must take the Richard Nixon leg up to the biolizard." And so she flies off. She flies off while Granny Starshine, the blooper reel Granny Starshine, believing that the world is saved now, goes to celebrate with a delicious co-op lemonade. She goes off to buy a lemonade from the co-op. So Granny Starshine is flying out. We can see this is the set, so we can see these are models and things. And she says she's flying up to face the biolizard, and she's flying up in her spaceship, and she turns to the camera and says, "By the way, my secret family recipe of kimchi involves you get a cabbage and you slice it up like super thin, and then you spit in it, and then you do a snot in it, because there's lots of good bacteria in that, and that's what causes it to ferment, and then blasts off into space. The biolizard is there. She's ready to roll the credits. She holds up the leg of Richard Nixon. It starts to glow. It's close enough to Mr. Monopoly's mechanical leg that the mechanical leg starts to wake up, and it's like the mechanical leg was Richard Nixon's leg from the other universe. Richard Nixon's leg in this universe and the mechanical leg from the robot Richard Nixon leg universe. They merge together and become a single Richard Nixon leg. The biolizard is filled with energy. The biolizard is filled with Nixon energy and is starting to explode, and it explodes! Grandparent Sunhaze looking on, confident that the prophecy will come to fruition. The biolizard explodes. The arc cannons are destroyed. Granny Starshine busts out a sick guitar solo. Richard Nixon flies into scene and says, "Granny Starshine, you have done a great job, and you have saved the world from the biolizard. Come with me to the White House and become president." And thus we have scene 30, our final scene. On the Animal Crossing Discord server, the Chaos Emerald, Granny Starshine, Handsome Prospector, and Nintendo Wii and the Brave Little Toaster are present. Granny Starshine is very confident she's just saved the world. Handsome Prospector is no longer interested in Granny Starshine. He's moved on, but he respects her. And the Brave Little Toaster is there. He joins a voice call and says, who's he calling? He's calling BBC News The brave little toaster is saying, I'm calling BBC News. And they say, BBC News, we understand you're there with the superhero, with the savior of the world, Granny Starshine. What's it like? What's it like? And he's like, oh, I can show you her right now. She's in the background. Look, she's over there. She's over there. The Chaos Emerald is on the call as well, but it's muted. It doesn't know, and it's saying it's just shouting nonsense. It's like bananas and fish and bagels and beans, and it's like, and Granny Starshine starts her life anew. She walks into the sunset with her magic wand, knowing that she has the power to do whatever she wants and whatever she believes in. The end. And they all exit. I think that's it. I think that's our film. That's our film. Woo! I think I can make all the... Oh wait, no, cause events. I can't just force them to exit of their own accord. Thank you very much. I know, starts her life anew was magnificent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. I really enjoyed that. So, we all know, I mean, we'll just let it go and carry on doing things. We all know how this goes down, which is that we now get to name the film that we've just created. Too bad Mendez didn't get a chance to see it. They would have loved it. Yeah, we'll send her. We'll have to send her a link to it. She's been talking about doing the reading, so I'd be really I'm looking forward to seeing her do that when she does, because that'd be awesome. Thank you very much. I'm glad you all really enjoyed this. I have thoroughly enjoyed doing this. It is a real kind of kind of in the final bits where you're going, where I'm like, I really want to tie this up into a satisfying conclusion. And I've got in my head what needs to happen, but you don't know exactly what's going to get thrown up. I had this thing, I was like, okay, the space shuttle has to come into it. The bio-lizard is in space. The yogurt, the bio-lizard is in space, and Granny, the leg has to be used, and I was trying to set up things that would kind of track together, but I didn't know when they would go. Anyway, let's name this thing, and then let's debrief. So, end of performance. What a beautiful art performance. It really was something very special, wasn't it? Now, with your audience, choose a name for the masterpiece that you have created and type it into the box. So, I can see we've got Interstellar Orgy. I mean, it was an interdimensional orgy as well. Or, I mean, it wasn't an orgy. It was just everybody was kissing. You know, it's a non-sexual kind of orgy. It was a kissing orgy. There's something about bio-lizard. Starshine, like it's kind of like Stardust with I could see who is it? I could see Neil Gaiman writing this story. And what's that actor who's in Starshine, the Starlight? I can't remember his name. The guy from Taxi Driver. I can see him being in it. So, Norfolk to the Universe featuring Jimmy Carr. Oh, okay. So, my favorite so far is There's Something About bio-lizard. That's my that's elderly people versus reptiles. Elderly people versus reptiles. Oh, I just think There's Something About bio-lizard is just so there we go. I think it has to be it. There's just something So on point about that. An interesting looking Z there. Okay. So give yourselves a round of applause. Well, that was some experience. Before you move on to your next challenge, why not take some time to talk with your audience about how this experience was for them? What did they enjoy? What did they take away from it? And of course, those same questions to you yourself, the streamer. How do you feel after performing this piece? Well, thank you very much, everyone, for being a part of that. This has been cracking. I really enjoyed this, and it was just like, I there were a lot of nice unexpected things that turned up, and so I think particularly the actions that you put in were really created some really nice moments that just kind of like were just kind of beautiful. So I'm really glad you had a lot of fun. I'm very happy to hear this. Any feedback is always appreciated. Black Doom is you want to get rid of is a program registering every instance of the word is. Oh, I see. Yep. I know what you mean. Uh, Responds to every instance of is. Yeah, I think it should be able to tell the difference between basically just not show something on screen when you do that. Really love the location. The moon, Norfolk, Lytham, Farms Boards. Okay, the one I really liked is the location of the filming with the camera panned out so you can see it's a set. That was my favorite location. I thought that was really original and also really funny and like funny to imagine. Wish you could enter and exit characters. Yes, I agree. I think that would be really as a way to, particularly towards the climax, um, and a way for the streamer to force it to say the end is quite a nice thing to do that I want to do. Less character or scene, yeah. Yeah, so being able to... It was fun when all commands pop up way later. Good, that's kind of what I was hoping. There was part of me that was kind of... I mean, one of the reasons I wanted that to be there is so that... So people type in stage directions, people type in actions, and then those actions will be in a pool of things that can happen, and, I like it when stuff's taken out of context, where it's like, at one point in time, this made perfect sense for what was going on. In some future, it might also accidentally make perfect sense, and I think that's really nice. And the fact that the action chooses a random character, I like that as well. I like that as a kind of sort of, there is a certain amount of control over it that you have, but it's not necessarily going to go your own way. Yeah. But yeah, so what I've got on my list of changes I want to make is so the bit where it detects that an action already exists, that doesn't, that is like a little too sensitive. It's like, but maybe it should just not not worry about checking for duplicates, because it's like basically I've got a function which checks to see if two strings are kind of close enough, and it gives them a score as a number, and if they are close, then it's it like returns true, that kind of thing, and it can sort of tell you how close it thinks they are. And I don't think that actually works as well like how I thought it did for like long sentences. I think it works nicely for short things. Like I use that in the sales thing so that people can type in like by something, and they don't have to spell it perfectly. It's like if it's close enough, it goes, "Oh, I know what you're trying to buy," and it interprets that. So yeah, that action already existing needs to change. The audience need to be able to type enter character and exit character. Um, it needs to not show up on the screen every time someone types in the word is. Um, we want a way to flag that you maybe want less of a character or a scene, and we need a way for the streamer to force the end. Um, uh, uh, yeah, I get. Yes, I can join Mendez's server. I mean, I think I'll see what they think about it in terms of, because the thing is, I don't want to go around kind of promoting myself on other people's channels and that. But if there is an appropriate place to do that, then I I'll be delighted to. And I know they've been interested in using these streams, and there is like this can operate on a Discord server as well, read from a Discord server instead of from Twitch chat as well. So it could be a nice place for people to try it out and things like that. So setting a mood of a character who isn't present so that when they came back they'd be their way is a good thing. I'm really glad that worked for you. Um, Generally, I'm really happy with this stream. I'm really happy with how this went, and like, I kind of, I'll be honest, it's quite nice to come away from a stream going, okay, there's stuff I want to change about it, but it's all technical and kind of conceptually it works, and like, and there's nothing there which is making me go like, the concept of this isn't quite right. My expectations of how people would interact with it, you know, like, obviously I have no idea how, I don't know how people are going to interact with it, but I have an expectation, and what usually happens is my expectation is wildly off the mark. And in this case, no, it kind of worked as I kind of hoped it would, which is really nice. Um, so, like, in terms of, obviously, tons of unexpected stuff happened. I didn't know where it was going. I didn't know what it was going to do. But, like, usually, like, I'll have things like in the encyclopedia one, there was stuff I didn't expect to happen because I hadn't foreseen, for example, that as a performer, I didn't really have an objective. You know, it's like in this, I was trying to create a story. I was trying to create a narrative as compelling as possible, where all the stuff kind of hangs together. Um, I was trying as best I could to create something that could be a film plot, however ridiculous. And it's, and that's where the dramatic tension comes from, is it's like, you're trying to create you're trying to best to create a dramatic story out of stuff that's kind of unpredictable and noisy, and it's not nice tightly. Like, I don't know if you've ever listened to one of my favorite podcasts is a podcast called Story Break, where it's 3 Hollywood screenwriters who, like, they have an hour to come up with a pitch for a Hollywood movie, and they will take something like Snickers or something. I was like, okay, we're going to do the Snickers movie. Or they've done Adobe Photoshop the movie, and they have 1 hour to figure out what Adobe Photoshop the movie is. But within that, they are kind of able to kind of rely on stuff like, okay, let's go back to the beginning and let's, think this through. What is the 3-act structure here? What's the 5-act structure here? Who's our protagonist and things like that? Whereas with this is all happening in the moment, and that's what I kind of like about this, is it's kind of noisy and messy, and finding the magic within the mess is interesting. Anyway, so, and what I'm talking about is, like, that is a clear objective that makes sense on its own, and something that I think the last one I did, the encyclopedia, which I'm working on, continuing to work on, because I think there's definitely potential in that, but it didn't quite work, is that in that one, I was pretending to be this encyclopedia, human encyclopedia, but I didn't really have an objective. I was trying to inform you of stuff that I didn't really know that much about, but, am I trying to convince you that I know this stuff? Am I trying to give you genuine am I trying to give you knowledge nuggets to take away? What's my motivation here? And that's what I mean by the kind of fundamental issues that like I kind of expect to see in streams like this when I try them out for the first time. Is I expect to get hit in the face with, oh, well, obviously this didn't really click because I didn't have a motivation or something like this. And actually, in this case, it clicked. The motivation worked, so I'm really, really happy with this. This has been a really fun one. Um, so yeah, trying to think what else to say. What I can say is on Wednesday evening UK time, I'll be on the IndieCade Twitch channel, doing an interview with a duo from Belgium called Devier Arcade, and they build custom wooden arcade cabinets for their own games, for other people's games, and some of these games are alternative controller games. Some of these games are more traditional games with kind of bespoke cabinets made for them. So they've worked with Sock Pop Collective, they've worked with Robin Baumgarten. If these names are familiar to you, then you'll know why I'm so excited to speak to them. And if you haven't, Sock Pop are kind of a group of indie game developers working as a collective in the Netherlands who do they do a lot of kind of strange experimental stuff, very warm and friendly kind of vibe to their games. And Robin Baumgarten does alternative controller games, a lot of them using kind of wobbly door stoppers, LEDs. He's got a game which is played on an LED strip. So Devier Arcade have built wooden arcade cabinets for their games, and it's they're real kind of mix between cabinet and like art installation. So I'm looking forward to speaking to them. That will be Wednesday night. So I will be on the IndieCade channel, but I will restream, host. I can't remember what. I think it's host is the word for it. When if you go to my channel, you will be directed to IndieCade. So that will be on Wednesday night. Yeah, other stuff I'm doing. So I am working on the encyclopedia at the moment, because I want to have another go at that. So I've added in, in order to give me a bit more stuff to talk about, what it'll do is it'll try to find a Wikipedia page for the thing that you have searched for, and it'll bring up isolated sentences from that Wikipedia page as a kind of prompt to sort of, if you want me to talk about geese, okay, it's going to bring me an isolated sentence about geese. And it might be something helpful, such as they migrate to Africa in the spring and to Europe in the summer or something. Or it might give me something like, John Donne's reference to the book was of controversial opinion or something. And it's that to give me something to work from. And the other thing I'm adding to the encyclopedia is that you'll be able to type into chat things that you've learned. Things that you've learned from the stream, which gives me an answer to that question of what's my motivation, which is my motivation is to give you knowledge nuggets that you can take home with you. Whether they are truths or lies doesn't matter, but if you are convinced to type in "today I learnt" followed by something, then you have been convinced that you have learnt something from my stream. And that's what I'm working on at the moment. Yeah, and then I am working on improvements to the singing game, because I think out of all of the games in our Bartholomew video, the singing game is the one where I feel like it has so much potential, but it's not quite there yet. So I am working on adding in quantizing to it. So one thing I've noticed is it's very hard to keep to the beat. So I'm going to make it so that every time you record some sound in the singing game, it will edit it so that it fits the beat. And if possible, I'll see if I can add an auto-tune to it as well, which will account for the fact that it's very hard to sing in tune. So that's that. But yeah, I think this has been a really, really good afternoon, and I've enjoyed doing this in the afternoon as well. I think I'll be honest, I get a little bit of stage fright, and in the hours leading up to doing a stream, sometimes I can get really kind of, oh god, this to sort out, this to sort out, and my mind's going a mile a minute, you know, and I look back at it. The longer I've sat with it, I've gone. I think that's actually just stage fright, and it's just my way of processing stage fright is to um is not, it doesn't make me go, I shouldn't stream. It makes me go, oh my god, there's stuff I need to fix, everything is burning, um and I'm kind of aware of that now. And one thing that streaming in the middle of the day does is means that I get over that nice and early in my day, and then I have my whole afternoon to just just be calm. So I'll probably start doing more of these streams in afternoons, certainly in weekends, if I can, because I think that'll be a nice change and get the variety in there as well. But yeah, I guess long story short, thank you very much for coming to this stream. This has been fantastic. I feel like I've got a lot out of this. I feel like I am really pleased with how this went. I think I'm going to. This game is definitely a keeper. There's a few technical things I want to change about it, but they're all technical. And yeah, this was really, really good. Thank you all so much for being a part of it. Thank you for all your inputs, all your submissions. As always, I mean, it's the same for every single one of these streams. They do not work without the viewers, being generous with their inputs and giving and joining in. And you've all been fantastic about this. You have all put in some fantastic stuff, which has really, that is the delicious, like, I'm like, let's say, the game is the stock. I am the saucepan, and you are the chicken and mushrooms and vegetables and salt and pepper and herbs and spices. That's what the audience, and it's like, it is not soup. It's not soup without you. That's my analogy here. You are the soup. And I think you've been a fantastic soup, putting in all kinds of variety of fruit and vegetables into this creative soup stock. And so it has been an absolute pleasure to have you here, and I've really, really enjoyed doing this. So thank you very much, and and thank you. Well, okay, I'll tell you something, Zach. The no energy lag thing. I'll tell you something that's helped with that. Practice. The first time I was doing these streams, doing a stream for 2 hours of talking constantly was really hard work, and I'd start to go a bit funny at the 90-minute mark. And it's just the more I've done, the more used to it I've gotten. It's kind of stopped phasing me so much. So that's my secret. So yes, let's see. Is there who is on who we can? Oh, okay. I'm going on to Twitch and see who is streaming right now, and I can see Huds is on right now. Huds is a Sonic streamer, and you can probably hear that coming through my thing. So this is the thing. So Huds is a Sonic streamer. Huds is currently doing a bunch of runs, doing a Pride Month speed, raising money for Pride, Bristol Pride at the moment. So do go on, have a watch of his stream, enjoy it, and all kinds of other stuff. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the congratulations and the thank yous. We're going to move over onto HUD601's channel, and yes, like I say, he's raising money for Bristol Pride, which is an awesome cause, which I really believe in, especially as I am also a Bristol resident. So, yes, have a watch of it, enjoy it, and I hope you have fun. I am looking forward to seeing you all again very soon. And look after yourselves, keep on being awesome. Look after yourselves, look after each other, keep on being awesome. All that other cool stuff I always tell you to do. And thank you very much for all your kind words and joining in. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon. All right, bye everyone. It says ready to raid in 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Raid now. Bye.